We'll have ourselves a seasonably chilly night as we head through the overnight time frame. Low temperatures dropping into the teens with a couple of low 20s out to the west. All the while, we have a bit of a breeze in place as well as a cold front continues to push on through. That will set the stage for a seasonable day on Tuesday. We're not going to be saying that very often over the next week or even 2 weeks. 30s for highs, maybe a flurry or two out toward western and southwestern KELOLAND. That's really going to be it for moisture as well. We'll talk about your 7-day forecast coming up. First to 4 starts now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group. KELOLAND News, first at 4.
A Hurley farmer with a long history of harassing and threatening women received his sentence today. We're going to find out the details coming up.
Plus, the search continues for an Iowa man after he disappeared over 2 weeks ago. What authorities are doing in their search efforts.
And later, a Rapid City dance studio is heading to New York. We're going to have the story at the bottom of the hour. Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. The lone survivor of a triple fatal crash near Beersford over the weekend is out of the hospital and in custody today. 20-year-old Hayden Hall is accused of stealing a vehicle from a nearby farm and leaving the crash scene. He's also facing grand theft and underage consumption charges.
The 3 victims, 2 men and a woman, died at the scene. Lincoln County Sheriff Steve Swenson says that the Highway Patrol is handling the crash investigation.
We also have DCI involved in this, so we're going to process the vehicle that we have in the pickup that was not stolen, process that for DNA, and try to figure if we can place where each person was in the vehicle.
Swenson says if Hall was driving, he will face additional charges. The victims were ages 18, 19, and 20. A Hurley farmer with a long history of harassing women was back in court today for his sentencing. 70-year-old Greg Farrar was arrested back in September for having sexual contact without consent with a Freeman woman. KELOLAND's Renee Ortiz takes us to Olivet, South Dakota to give us more details on the sentencing.
I'm here at the Hutchinson County Courthouse where Greg Farrar was scheduled for his sentencing hearing this morning. Farrar was not required to show up for his sentencing due to the charge being a Class 1 misdemeanor. After hearing testimony from the victim in the case, Judge Patrick Smith sentenced him to 365 days in jail with 185 days suspended. Farrar was ordered by Judge Smith to turn himself in by 5 p.m. to the sheriff's office here. I'll give you more details in my full report coming up tonight. Reporting in Olivet, South Dakota, Renee Ortiz, KELOLAND News.
The Meade County Sheriff's Office is asking people to, quote, stop stealing our signs. Today and through the end of the month, if you have a stolen Meade County highway sign, you can turn it into the sheriff's office during normal business hours. You can also leave them at the front door after hours, no questions asked. The Meade County Highway Department estimates they spend $40,000 on replacing highway signs each year.
Well, the South Dakota Housing for the Homeless Consortium is getting ready to conduct its annual homeless count. The point-in-time, or PIT, count is a national one-day census and estimate of all the people experiencing homelessness and fleeing domestic violence. The data from this count is used to help lawmakers plan a course of action for handling the issue of homelessness. For those wanting to help with the PIT count, a virtual training will be held on December 18th at 3 p.m. The count will be conducted on January 23rd of next year. All right, let's get a check of our weather forecast because not a lot to talk about, is there?
Yeah, it did feel a little cool today, though.
Yeah, but it is December.
And you know what? It doesn't look like it's December. It occasionally feels like it, especially at night as of late. But don't get used to that if you are a fan of more typical conditions. Here's a view from our camera in Aberdeen to kick things off. Some cloud cover as our cold front continues to push out of here. 37 currently with a northwest wind at just 8 miles per hour. And we're doing a little bit better than that here in downtown Sioux Falls. There's the 10th Street mural actually adding a little bit of color to an otherwise a gray scene overall. 44 at the airport and a westerly breeze at just 9 miles per hour. We have a few 50s out there. Chamberlain at 50. Pine Ridge was at 51 earlier. They've dropped down to 49, 52 edgehead toward Valentine, 49 Winter, 40 Pier, 42 toward Rapid City, 41 in Huron, with a couple of mid-30s out there, including Watertown and Sisseton at 36 apiece. We're also near 50 toward Yankton. They're sitting at 48. So on the backside of that cold front, there's a few very, and I do mean very, isolated showers of both the rain and, if you're in the highest elevations of the hills, snow variety, really amounting to little, if anything, assuming any of that is even able to make it down to ground level. It is going to be very difficult to get anything of substance to come around. And that's just going to be the trend that continues, not just in the short term, but also in the long-term outlook as well. I mentioned we have a seasonable night on the way at the top of the show. Teens and a couple of low 20s for overnight low temperatures. Highs for your day tomorrow are going to also be typical for this time of year. Low to mid 30s in southeastern and even northeastern KELOLAND for that matter, with a couple of locations toward the Prairie Coteau in the upper 20s. Out to the west, we'll see 30s and a couple of low 40s for good measure. But in terms of average days, that's just about it. We'll talk about your mainly quiet 7-day forecast in a little more detail as we head through the hour.
Thanks, Adam. Well, South Dakota may be more familiar with tornadoes than earthquakes. However, residents in the southeastern part of the state felt the ground rumble over the weekend. The United States Geological Survey says a 3.0 magnitude earthquake rumbled near Wakanda Sunday afternoon. Officials say the depth of the earthquake was 8.3 kilometers, or just over 5 miles deep. The USGS says people usually begin to feel earthquakes at a 3.0 magnitude.
An Iowa man has been missing for over 2 weeks now, and officials and volunteer searchers have no clues about his whereabouts. Bo Bauman with our CBS affiliate in Des Moines, Iowa, has the story.
It's been more than 2 weeks since David Schultz has returned to his home here in Wall Lake, and while thousands and thousands of acres have been searched with no luck, his family still isn't giving up hope. The Schultz family home is full of pictures of their father and husband, David.
Exhaust pipes and the visor.
And the drawings his son made depicting the semi-truck investigators found parked in the middle of the highway with his phone and wallet inside. No answers as to what could have happened.
You try to figure it out and it makes you crazy because there's no answer that makes sense.
For Schultz's wife, Sarah, not knowing is what's hardest.
It's worse than death because I look out the window and I just feel like he should be coming home.
It's hunting season.
For the last 2 weeks, the United Cajun Navy and dozens of volunteers have searched more than 100,000 acres looking for the 53-year-old to no avail.
They've kind of switched gears now. They've searched over 100,000 acres and kind of getting to believe that he's not in the area.
Sarah Schultz says the United Cajun Navy is now working to put together a reward with the Sac County Sheriff, and details are still being worked out. She says she can't believe the amount of people who have reached out with prayers and donations.
I'm so grateful for it. I feel helpless to thank anyone enough. Like, thank you it's not enough. I don't know how to repay everyone for the kind words and prayers.
If you have any information that could help find Schultz, you're asked to call the Sac County Sheriff. In Wall Lake, Bo Bowman, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
A Minnesota man is being released from prison today after a judge decided he was wrongfully convicted in 2005. Marvin Haynes was accused of killing 55-year-old Randy Scherer in a Minneapolis flower shop in 2004. He was sentenced to life in prison. Haynes was 16 at the time. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office says prosecutors agreed Haynes's constitutional rights were violated during the trial. He's expected to be released this afternoon.